I woke up this morning starkly craving some good old-fashioned cheese, and this was apparently a 9-minute game on All That Glitters, which definitely piqued my interest. Glitter is one of those maps that's well known for going into those 30, 40, 50, 60-minute long epic late games. So when I see a match this short, I can't help but wonder exactly what team is going to pull off some kind of strategy to close out a game that quickly. So welcome back to the Brightworks, where we're going to be taking a look at a match that was very recently played here on everybody's favorite Golden Desert map. Spotting is the blue team leader right up here on the front lines. It's Superlux, 37 open skill, Silvertail, Chevrons popping out there as well, getting ready to show us what they've got on the front lines. Here, our red team leader, Spooky Dookie, apparently planning some stuff right here. Airlift of dubious consent. Not gonna lie, get a whole team on board. I want to sometime. Apparently the red team. The red team already planning their shenanigans. Well, I guess we know exactly who's going to be making the first aggressive move, and it looks like it's going to be some sort of transport shenanigans. Yep, give everyone a transport. Okay, so what we might be doing here is just going for good old-fashioned comm bombs. It's a risky strategy. It really is, because everybody on the blue team has a commander, everybody on the red team has a commander. If you trade 1-to-1, then you've effectively lost, because if there are any survivors on the other side of the map, they will continue piling on pressure and they'll be able to reclaim the metal, right? Because you have to get your commanders into their base, which means if they go down, then yeah, the commanders get to reclaim all that juicy metal. So it's a very risky strategy, but we will see exactly how the red team manages to pull it off. Not the fastest transports I've ever seen, though. Certainly giving the blue team time to scout it out here. We do have ticks and rovers and rascals and all sorts of other scouts going across. Actually, just a whole bunch of ticks. Everybody going bot labs right here. Whole bunch of Armada bot labs. There we go. We have a rover coming out now from a Armada vehicle bay. All Armada on the front lines here, I am noticing, though. Yeah, the blue team. Armada across the board. Apparently all on the same page. Trying to send out units to try and scout out exactly what's going on. The scouting plane has been spotted here. Always a little bit risky, because wherever you send the scout plane, you can expect that maybe, yep, they'll start setting up anti-air towers. And once those AA towers are up, it's going to be pretty difficult to move your commanders in for the comm bomb. Ticks running across the map right here, doing the best scouting that they can. Not finding anything too valuable, though. Rovers on the hunt, trying to kill those ticks whenever they can. Looks like they will be able to shut down that last one. Nicely done. Aggression shut down very nicely right there by the hot pink commander. And my eyes are glued right now on the red commander, who is now pumping out a whole bunch of transports. All right, we've got 8 transports queued up. That's 1 per teammate. This could go bad in so many different ways. So the reason why we don't see this all too often is because of the many ways that this can go bad. But one of the most prominent is, of course, if the enemy air player is on top of it and manages to shoot down your transports. Yeah, you suddenly lose about 8 commanders worth of team, and that's no good whatsoever. You start to lose big time. It means it's important that we have fighter coverage. It's important that we have air coverage. It's important that everybody is playing their part here. I wouldn't even mind seeing some of the other players here going into an air lab. Like, if we were really going to commit to this as a team, I wouldn't even mind seeing the yellow commander going into an air lab just to pump out a whole bunch of fighters, just to protect the transports. That feels like a worthwhile investment. Just so that you don't lose commanders willy-nilly, transporting them up to the front lines. For those of you that haven't been playing very recently or haven't been seeing, for instance, some of the pro lobbies, there is a recent tweak units that's been proposed, and I think it's actually being proposed for base game, is disallowing commanders in T1 transports. Yeah, an interesting change, certainly. Commanders have received quite a lot of changes over the years. They've removed their ability. They've essentially developed anti-D-gun shielding. One of the only units, in fact, the only unit that can resist the might of the D-gun. Nice run by right here by some blitzes, by the way. LLT trying its best to clean this up. It gets 2 of them. Third one still blasting away at the build power, though. But essentially, commanders may now be losing their transportability status. Maybe that shielding is too heavy. They're unable to, unable to move around in those transports with their shields activated, so unable to pick the commanders up anymore. But here we go. Commanders moving to the front lines now. Transports carrying units all over the place, but also just Getting ready to move the commanders forward. There we go. Dark Star 1 transporting the commander forward. Kato Megumi also moving forward. And Omegadon gathering on the right-hand side. Can't wait to see the execution. It's got to be clean. Good day, the brown commander holding on the left-hand side. Wait, not Wolverine. Wolvern, the cyan commander. Slowly but surely pushing forward over there. And our air player has no idea. No air has not seen that there's suddenly a bunch of units over here. Maybe we could sniff it out that there's a bunch of random maroon and yellow stuff over on this side. And we are seeing transports left and right. Would love to see this shell shocker transported up on top of this hill. It's a really annoying move you can go for. It's very difficult to shut that down. 1 or 2 Wolverines on this hill and this hill. Yeah, that can be very difficult to deal with. Good day continuing to hold the line. Tan Commander also holding the line. It feels like everybody across the red team is basically just holding their line until the time is right. I think the fighter production needs to ramp up here. Spooky Dookie. Going for a couple of fighters. Yeah, okay. We're going for more of them. It's a bit of an energy problem. How much do you commit to spending resources on fighters if you plan to just send everything away anyways? At the very least, we've got the build power up and running, so we will be able to leave this lab with the commander and not really have to worry about it too much. Kato Megumi hanging out in the air right there has me a little worried. 1 or 2 fighters goes across the map from the Seafoam Green Commander, and suddenly you've got yourself in a really tricky situation. We're going up to a T2 economy, by the way, as well. No air getting those T2 mexes up and running, as well as the blue team in general. Oh. Skipping the mexes and going for a fusion reactor. That's a little bit strange. Prioritizing the energy production, I suppose. Not the end of the world, but certainly a bit odd. Spooky Dookie moving the fighters and the commander into position. All right, let's see it, boys. Pings in the backline right here. Everybody trying to figure out what exactly is going on, because up until this point, it has looked like a fairly standard all that glitters game. Time is running out for that, though. Superlux setting up that fusion reactor still. And here they go. Fighters going across the board. No air fighters right here for the Seafoam Green Commander. Well, there's 2 of them. 2 fighters, not nearly enough at this point. Oh no. Misreading this completely. And just like that, the 3 commanders coming across the line. Flying into the backline, getting ready to kill as much as they can. D-guns connect with the base right there. Another commander in the backline over here as well, Omegadon. And Kato Megumi. All dropping down their commanders. The green base in a lot of trouble now. D-gun on the lab to shut down production. Energy storage is definitely a prime target. D-gun cleaves those apart here as well. Spooky Dookie trying to hold on as well. We need some LLTs. Definitely need to see this commander start going for some more LLTs. The green base has been destroyed as well. And it looks like the blue team is having an internal crisis. Can we please turn off comm drops next round? Cries out Kozan. So frustrating. So very frustrating to play against this sort of style. Because it feels like if you don't have the right counter ready, there really isn't much you can do. Red commander goes down. Maroon commander still moving towards the base of the air player though. Kato Megumi still moving forward. Cool, cries out the blue commander. With no hope of shutting down this commander as it moves towards that APHIS, or pardon me, that fuss. Down it all goes. Reduced to atoms. And eventually a very, very successful comm drop. Alright, not bad. I think we've definitely done our damage, but it's time for everybody else to capitalize here. Units should be moving forward, but they won't even need to. It's a morale victory here for the red team as all these labs go down. Dang, that was a quick match, wasn't it? But it just goes to show that those comm bombs are extremely powerful. No wonder they're going to get nerfed eventually, some way or another. You win a game like this, and it's definitely disheartening. That was a quick one, though, so why don't we check out another game after this one? Both of these replays came across my desk, and I figured each one of them was a little too short, but as soon as I received the second one, I realized, there we go. That'd be perfect for a joint video. Just cover Supremacy. Just covers all the glitters twice, and have fun looking at some very, very quick matches that happen to be submitted over on the Discord. So let's check out what happens in game number 2, where our blue team leader, instead, this time, going to be spawning in the tech position over here. Sometimes I would call this the flex position as well, although this, this is usually the tech position, because you're right in the center, so you can hand out those T2 to basically everybody, and it takes around the same amount of time to get it out to every person on the map. This is more of a flex position, though, because you can help your front line. If they're doing all right, then you can transition into air, you can transition into T2, you can transition basically any direction you want without really the discomfort of having to deal with units pushing through your front lines. You can also do that strategy we saw a little while ago, where you move your commander up essentially along this line, and then you make a little bit of a fortress or barricade right here and kind of right here, and it relieves a little bit of pressure from your player over on your left and the pressure from the player over on the right-hand side. This game going to be Dankaroni and What the Sigma. Our blue team leader, by the way, I forgot to introduce them. Skibbity Ohio Mager going to be representing the blue team here. 22 open skill and hailing from the USA. Gonna be going up against our red team leader of Uyap, the red team leader from 2P clan, apparently. Gonna be playing as Armada as well. Gonna be going into some of those Armada vehicles. All right. Now, the last game, the last game was interesting. Definitely very strange to see a comm drop in our Lord's year 2024. Definitely feels like a very, it's a risky strategy. It really is. It seems like it's so effective whenever it works well like that. But really, at the end of the day, you're throwing away about, I mean, for every commander, it's 1,250 metal that you're dropping on the enemy side of the map. It's so risky, because if you lose it, if you don't manage to take down at least a lab and most of their economy structures, you're actually giving them a huge portion of metal. It means that if production resumes, if T2 is up and running, for instance, if you don't manage to kill the tech, then yeah, you can still be in a pretty tricky situation, as all that metal funnels back into T2, and then all the T1 units on the front line are essentially invalidated. Yeah, I've seen it before. It's definitely possible. And maybe gives hope to people who are dealing with a comm drop and lose their whole base. Have faith in your team and just try and keep on kicking on, because eventually there are ways to come back into that sort of a game using the advantage that the other team throws away here. Uyap being sent quite a lot of metal right now. That's the Tan commander just sending over spare resources to Depp and Uyap. I don't mind it, because of course Depp has a large area to hold right here. We have the pawns rushing forward right now, and eventually we're going to get some Rocketeers out as well. What the Sigma moving forward, slowly but surely, claiming these metal extractors. I think this constructor should probably go around and claim these other mexes while we're at it. Hot Pink Ticks moving forward right now, blasting down one rover, and they'll get a second one too. Medium tank trying its best. It'll be the rover, though, that manages to clean up those ticks. Nicely done right here from the purple commander, keeping the front line safe, and there were no metal extractors over here, which is a weird read for the hot pink commander, who was looking to do a little bit of damage and ended up finding nothing over there on that line. Definitely a bit of a strange play from the purple commander. Red blitz run by, trying to get aggressive through the canyon lane here, pushing into the base of our Seafoam green commander Odebear. Constructor in a lot of trouble. The lab is actually stalled right here. Oh, we're not even producing anything. If we were producing things, it'd be stalled by the constructor stuck in the laboratory there. But it won't matter now. Blitz is across the map. Wind turbines falling right here. And the red team continuing to be aggressive in every direction. Boy, if it isn't the best of the fundamentals, it's just that there's aggression on the other side of the map, and that's always going to end up paying out better for you than it is for defending. Defense is much more expensive than offense in this game. 90% of the time, that's true anyways. Shurikens here. Paralytic drones in order to clean a lot of this up. Very nicely done. Oh, there we go. Last blitz taken care of. Not the end of the world, because a lot of metal was deposited right there. But certainly shutting down this frontliner right here means that Uyap has a wonderful time. At the very least has more time bought to continue expanding this front line here. Yeah, Shuriken looking for any value that they can find, but not really managing to get all too much. Pawns running forward now, threatening what the Sigma. These names, my goodness. Skibbity Ohio Mager now moving forward right here as well. and trying their very best to build up these metal extractors that the purple commander missed. I think going for a couple of laser towers over here, maybe a twin guard, maybe even a heavy laser tower over in this choke point in order to sustain it, wouldn't be the worst idea. Still difficult for the blue team to find openings here. Squids McGee has one of them. One of those things that comes with map awareness. By the way, this is the lower level lobby, so if you're wondering why I'm taking this a little bit easier, why maybe I'm critiquing things a little less harshly, you can check out the open skills over on the right-hand side and see exactly that this is a very low skill lobby, so I'm more so just pointing things out rather than, you know, saying right and wrong. Rocket bots falling here. Depp in a whole lot of trouble. Ooh, those Janus connections are huge. What the Sigma, winning that trade very easily. We'll retain about a couple thousand metal right there. So Squids McGee right here has a vastly open line right here. You can see the viewpoint right here for the Green Commander reveals that all of the Maroon Army is here. All of the Yellow Army is over here. And now forced to deal with a killer run-by, but as soon as this is cleaned up, or even before this was sent through, one of the best strategic maneuvers you can do in order to get an army to back off from assaulting you is to push into their line, right? So you can see if these green forces had pushed forward here, they would have been able to kill 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-ish metal extractors before getting into the yellow base here and shutting down all the production. Would have forced an answer right there from the yellow commander rather than just taking a frontline fight right here against medium tanks. Oh no. Grunts versus medium tanks is a terrible, terrible engagement. If ever possible, should be 100% avoided. There we go. A couple of killer D-guns from Squids McGee here, trying to save face on the front lines, but the entire LLT defensive forest, all of the units on the front, all of those grunts have all gone down. Suddenly, this is not looking good. Oxfortson, also in a lot of trouble here. It's just vehicles versus bots, and the vehicles have been allowed to snowball. It's a critical mistake, but a very subtle one. One that you make over a long period of time that you don't really realize is happening until it's far too late. But as soon as the medium tanks build up to number... D-guns? D-guns not quite on point right there for Squids McGee, and it means indeed that the Green Commander will go down right there. Looks like some shuriken moving into position here, trying to save day, but already a little bit too far behind. Not able to save that Green Commander, and so just like that, that Commander will go down. It's the medium tank snowball. And that's the insidious growing threat that a lot of commanders fail to recognize when they see it in action. Especially insidious when going up against bots versus vehicles. But potent all around. Very similar in a sense to the naval snowball, in the way that once you win 2 or 3 good fights and you get the reclaim out of it, you can build so many more tanks than your opponent that no matter what they do, they really don't have an efficient way of shutting you down. Nice D-guns right there from Odebear, though, shutting down some of these medium tanks from the red commander, who's looking to fire those Janus into the Seafoam green commander. Yeah, 1 or 2 more good connections from those Janus would put that commander down. Odebear knows it and is forced offline right now. Gonna have to retreat the commander. Fishman 788 stepping up to the plate here. Gonna try and shut all this down before the red commander has much more of an opportunity to push forward. Blue leader popping the backline while it was focused on the Janus. The Janus are flashy, but it's the humble brute now taking the center stage as tons of these medium tanks blast apart the entire economy right here. There's a bunch of E-storage or E-converters right next to solar panels. All of it went up in smoke right here as the blue player got into the backline. Mace is finally bringing those takes down, but my goodness, was that a terrible, terrible trade right there. Blue tank's not quite done yet either. We do have riot tanks moving forward as well. Always love it to see those riot tanks in action against big swarms of T1 bots. Fishman 788 trying to find the angle. Shell Shockers now barraging the long-range rocket bots here, making it uncomfortable to push forward. Riot tanks having the time of their life, though. You good, cries out the yellow commander. The entire backline is ravaged. No E-production available for Digital Doctor. And the yellow commander says, you good, question mark. You good, certainly am not. The hot pink commander Losing all of their build power, and I'm starting to see exactly where the advantage comes into play here. Wind turbines too close together will chain react as well, and down goes the entire left side economy. It's a race against the clock here, as UEOB now has to push forward, has to make sure that this all goes down before their left-hand side crumbles. T2 reinforcements should be on the way by this point in the game. 10 minutes into the game, we should be starting to see Hound production here. Orange Commander should definitely be making a transition into Hounds. T2 handed across the map here. Medium tanks pushing forward. Barcode was taken, trying to press the advantage right here. With the commander down, there's no D-gun threat, and that really is the biggest problem for medium tanks. Shurikens are up there on the list as well, but they definitely take a little bit longer to be effective. Now, that being said, they're quite a bit more maneuverable too, so they can slip into action a little bit easier. It's the, oh, looks like, okay, the Lavender Commander has sacrificed themselves. This is a desperate bid for control right here. Trying to find a way to get back into this. Shuriken do clean up this mess of tanks over here. Nothing for the blue team, though, to shut all this down. Where is your air player? Oh, you don't have an air player. Ah, I'm starting to smell a critical collapse in the dominoes right here, as there's no air player available for the red team. Means no Shuriken available, means no T2 Armada EMP bombers or nuclear bombers or anything like that. None of the air support that you desperately need in situations like this. And those Janus are continuing to rock Digital Doctor's world to the foundations. That tank commander is now on the run. Those heavy ground-to-ground missiles, perfect for dealing damage to commanders, and boom goes the tank commander just like that. Beautifully done right here with the push on the left-hand side. Ohio, Skibbity, Ohio, Mauger, and What the Sigma. Man, I feel like I'm gonna be clipped here. I feel like a lot of those are gonna be turned into sound bites. But anyway, Skibbity, Ohio, Mauger, and What the Sigma doing a great job of pushing over on that left-hand side. Hounds are finally out over here, and we do have the Shuriken as well. Shuriken looking quite nice over here on the right-hand side, going to be able to paralyze a lot of this. Isn't enough though. The light anti-air is really all it takes in order to shut this down, and those hounds are falling left, right, and center. We need to keep these out of arm's reach with those medium tanks. They're more than happy to blast them down if they have the chance. Janus is even more so. Hound's so efficient and so effective, but only if they manage to ball up in critical mass. And the Lavender Commander has run out of steam. Blue forces have pushed into the, well, normally air player, who has instead gone for T2, just like 3 or 4 of his other teammates. And the critical failure is revealed. Going for that much T2, that aggressively across your entire team, means you essentially spread thousands and thousands of metal that otherwise would be on the front lines into a couple of tech labs. And then your opponent, if they build any number of units, are going to outpace you. Really tricky, really easy thing to mess up about your economy. It's one of the things that newer players struggle with the most, I would say. Seafoam Green Commander goes down over here. Looks like the regular Green Commander went down over here on the right-hand side. Just a good old-fashioned medium tank push. Lightning tanks are out now to try and shuttle that down, but does it really matter? The backline economies are ravaged. Hazy, the Orange Commander here, now in tons of trouble. Yignath also in a lot of trouble here as well. D-Gun's connecting with some of those medium tanks, but there's so many of them, Janus included. It's a classic, it's a tale as old as time. It's a classic tale as old as time that a little bit of aggression here and there eventually scales into full-blown victory. It's true over here on the right-hand side as well, where these Janus have been continually firing away and continually doing damage to all of these bots. Eventually pushing back all of this. I wouldn't mind a couple of welders just because they're a little sturdier. They can stand up to the firepower here. The Hounds as frontline units is not really where you want them, but it's where the Lavender Commander needs them, because otherwise these tanks have no objection to pushing straight on through. The blue team will take it though, as the red team finally votes to resign as their backline falls under fire in the last tech position here. Comes under fire from the medium tanks. And just like that, it looks like the blue team will manage to win with overwhelming aggression over on the left-hand side. lower level matches, there's definitely a lot to learn in these, so I sure hope you found some value in it. Let me know what you thought about it down below in the comment section, or maybe if you caught something that I missed. Always happy to hear those comments down below. Sure hope you have a great rest of your day. Don't forget to smile, and I will see you in the very next video of Beyond All Reason. Peace out, everybody.